Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome to Friday. We made it to the end of another week distance learning. I want to say week 5. That's an accomplishment. So, welcome back to my studio. Hope all is well with you. And how did your clay sculpture fare overnight? Well, here's what I did with mine. I left mine out all night and got kind of dry and crusty in spots, which is good. That'll allow us to work with it today without it being as oily. What I tried to do, I'm looking around here for this spatula. I tried to, and I did succeed. I got the spatula underneath and I picked it up because I wanted to see how dry it was underneath. And it's still very moist underneath. The bad part was that when I took it off of the cardboard, I accentuated a lot of the cracks that will just naturally develop over time. So here's my idea with the cracks, and if there's anything super crusty on yours, I have a little container of water, and all I'm doing is I'm dipping my finger into the water, and I think what that'll do is reactivate a little bit of the doughy clay, and it will allow us to patch up any of the areas that are kind of cracked up and not as smooth as they once were. But as I had indicated yesterday, it's no big deal. This is part of the learning curve, and it's like I said, I'm just enjoying the fact that we're able to even attempt, some type of three-dimensional art in our distance learning program. I think it's really, really fun just to even try. And, whatever your results are, as long as you're giving me an honest effort and having some fun in the process and posting a picture for me by 3 o'clock today of your progress, I'll be just so happy about that. Okay? And this is just an ongoing process, and as you know, I can work and talk for extended periods of time. So forgive me, but I've always said that good teaching is good communication, and talking's one of the most used forms of communication between teacher and student. So forgive me, but I love teaching, I love kids, and I'm happy to help. Here's my blob from yesterday, and it too was crusty. This is the 1/3. It was crusty, but I was able to rework it and re-knead it this morning, which I'm very happy about. And it too can help patch up any inconsistencies, any of the cracks. In fact, it's still pretty gooey. And when you rework yours, you could maybe add a little water, like I'm doing. I'm trying to patch up this crack in the bridge of the nose here. There we go. Get a little dough inside there. Now I have this, hang on a second, I gotta grab a paper towel, sorry. I I found this sculptural tool in my studio, which I know you won't have. It's got like this spherical rounded shape at the end, and it's really good for tapping out and smoothing areas of the sculpture. And I know you won't have anything like that, but here's a thought. Q-tip and a little bit of water can help you do some repairs also. So what I did was I accentuated that upper brow line, and I added eyebrow-like structures to the top. Okay. And another thing I noticed overnight was his nose kind of sunk in a little bit, so I might build up the tip of the nose a little bit more. And I'm finding that the addition of the water is really reactivating the clay. And I don't know if this thing will ever be freestanding. I suppose after many days it'll solidify 100%, and you'll be able to get it off of the cardboard and lean it up on a bookshelf or something as a keepsake, maybe as a paperweight. That might be a good idea. Okay. Another thing I'm going to do is, remember I was building out the cheekbones a little bit yesterday? I'm going to build them out some more. There's a blob there. There's a blob there. I keep dipping in the water to help me smooth my creation. Do you still have an old stick or a pencil that you're using to refine your sculpture? Because one of the things I found yesterday was it was kind of cool to take the edge of the stylus here, and I almost was using it to carve out some smile lines or laugh lines. And particularly I was going around the nose, and I might carve out a couple nostrils here underneath. You might not be able to see that, so maybe I'll tilt that up. There you go. See some nostrils. Oops, I might have bent that mouth a little bit. I'm also going to build up this area. Looks like a mustache right now, which is fine. You could give your character a mustache if you wanted to. But I'm going to kind of build that area up a little bit. Keeping my eye on the clock. We're at about 9 minutes so far in the video. Do you have a craft stick or something that you've been using to shape and form areas of your sculpture with? Hopefully you do. I'm gonna up the chin a little bit too. I'm glad I saved all this extra. Really comes in handy on day 2. So as I'm working here, let me just reiterate what I put up on yesterday's post, and also a reminder today: missing grades will turn into zeros, and we don't want that on our record. Using my Q-tip a little bit here. Maybe there's the infranasal depression a little bit. We don't want zeros on our record. Please, 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 deficiencies are scheduled to go out next week, and we don't want any zeros on our record. So double check your record of assignments here on Google Classroom. And any missing assignments can be turned in late. Click on the assignment to upload. You'll see that little plus, and that's where you'll upload the picture of your assignment. Get your stuff in, boys and girls, okay? Please. Alright, let's see here. Let's take a little bit of dough, roll it together a little bit. Let's put a little chunk inside each eye. Let's fill up those eye sockets a little bit. Tap it down. Have your paper towel handy. And the stylus might come in handy here. Also the Q-tip. And the sculpture, the store-bought sculpture I had shared yesterday, here's what they did. When they filled in the eye, they kind of poked out the middle a little bit to indicate the pupil. And then I think what they did was they carved around a little bit with the stylus. I'm going to close that pupil hole a little bit. So I think it was a little bit too wide, looked a little bit too creepy. And notice how I'm just going back and forth. I'm going to build up the bridge of this nose as well. I think it sunk down a little bit overnight. It's hilarious. I don't know who I'm making here, but it's definitely taken on a look. It's like a creepy, reminds me of the Goosebumps character, the ventriloquist doll, I forget his name. I want to say like something that has an APPY at the end, snappy, something like that. I don't know. That's another reason why I miss you kids. You always answer my questions about pop culture and whatnot that my old brain doesn't retain. Alright, so let me see here. Let's give this guy some hair. And I'm just tearing off chunks of the dough. And I'm building it up above the head as well. And you can pull it down onto the forehead. Because if you don't pull hair down onto the forehead, your character's going to look bald, unless you want it to be a bald character. That's your choice. I'm pinching that a little bit to move it around and pull it up, give it some volume. And then another fun thing you can do is you can always take your stylus and carve out some striations, some grooves that will indicate movements of hair. It's a fun thing to do. Okay. And a couple final things here. If you want to put on some ears, they will basically be attached. The top of the ear will be in line with your eye, and the bottom of the ear will come down to about the edge of the nose here. And remember, we talked about drawing ears. They're wider at the top, narrower at the bottom. They've got that, remember we called it the upside down thumb mitten. You can carve out those lines and grooves in the ears however you see fit. I've got a little bit left here. You might want to develop a neck for your character. That's your decision. And beyond this, because I'm going to have to sign off soon, I don't want you to be watching me sculpt all day. I want you to be able to dive into the clay and have some fun with it. But beyond this, it's all refining your piece and getting in there and working on your details. Remember, you can use the edge of your stylus to roll out any indentations. You can use the tip of the stylus to carve out individual features as well. And moving forward, it's just going to be a lot of touch-up detail work and fun. And I know when you snap a picture of your creation today for submission, I know it's not going to be fully dry. I understand, and we'll take that all into account. The important part, like I said, is that you tried and had some fun in doing so. And let me close those openings up a little bit more. They bother me a little bit. This Q-tip is a wonderful tool. Like if you get a little water on it, it really helps push around and smooth out the clay. And it's helping me repair a lot of those cracks. Maybe I should have been a ventriloquist doll artist. Because that's what my guy is looking like. But you know what? I've had a lot of